All right, my loves. So another episode of Shakti Temple Talks about the best sex you'll ever have. Because we all are very curious about sex these days. And and I'm speechless all of a sudden. So, the best sex you'll ever have. Yeah. What is that? What is the possibility of the best sex you'll ever have? What I want to explore with this is perhaps not what you are expecting. Well, if you know me, you maybe do know what to expect, but if you don't and it was just clickbait title, then you might be a little surprised where I'm gonna go with this. So the best sex you ever have is sex that happens in a vertical alignment. And this is a concept that I love to talk about and teach about in my work in the Taoist realms of sexuality and also within Tantra. And vertical alignment, what is that? Well, in ancient India, there's this beautiful symbol that is way beyond sexuality. I just want to say that here before I offend somebody. This symbol is way deeper than that. It's a symbol of the yoni and linga. And it's a symbol, I wish I had it somewhere here to show you. It's a symbol of a very phallic representation of a phallus penetrating what looks like a yoni, what looks like the female genitalia. So male genitalia, female genitalia. The female genitalia are in this horizontal alignment and the masculine is in a vertical alignment. And it represents spirit, or the transcendental, penetrating the earthly realm or the horizontal, the material realm, right? That this is the matrix of creation. This is the web that has woven us all and that we're all dancing within. Now, I'm going to go into some tantric philosophy here. So there's this idea of Shiva and Shakti. Shiva being the masculine principle of supreme consciousness and Shakti being the feminine principle of supreme energy, or the manifest matrix that's lighting all this up. And that consciousness, what is witnessing this great dance of Shakti. So Shakti has another name, and that is Maya. And as Maya, she is this woman of many veils. She is creating this illusion around us of separation that has us doing this great dance of eros, of desire, but what that has us doing is moving with that energy, that eros, in the horizontal plane where we lose a lot of energy. Right? And our energy gets very limited, especially to our genitalia, or even into our heady mind space, right? So we tend to kind of bypass the heart in this horizontal alignment, or entangle or ensnare the heart in this kind of horizontal alignment, and we lose a lot of our vital life force energy. What happens with horizontally connecting in this way is that we don't meet our lovers from the fullness of our being. We tend to meet them from separate parts. We are meeting them perhaps just from the loins, or sometimes maybe it's just from the heart, and there's not that, deeper, rootsy, primal connection. Perhaps it's an intellect, a mind thing. And the concept of meeting sex, eros, desire, another being, intimately, in the most intimate way we can possibly share with another being. I mean, why would we want to limit the most intimate experience we could possibly have with another being? Well, there are actually a lot of reasons we'd want to limit that, but to go through with the process of it and limit our full experience of it, that's what I mean. As we move our sexual energy into vertical alignment, what we are doing is, imagine this. So all of this eros energy is reaching, it's out here, it's testing the waters, it's creating entanglements. What if we start to gather that back to ourselves? Imagine the power of that, gathering it back into ourselves, and then moving it in our own bodies vertically, creating this circuit of energy, cycling that energy within us so that we are the masters of that energy rather than it being the master of us. That's a key teaching right there in and of itself, right? Sexual energy has this ability to bring us into some of the most beautiful, exquisite states of human embodiment and consciousness. And simultaneously, this energy can also lead us into the darkest, most twisted realms of human consciousness and embodiment. Huge spectrum here, huge spectrum. So as we become more masterful of this energy, we start to decide where this energy leads us on the spectrum. We gather greater discernment over who and how we share this sexual energy. If we do not feel fully seen, held, met by a person we're sharing this energy with, we cannot be total in our experience. I once had a Vedic astrologer share with me. This is an Indian man, so it came as a little bit of a shock, but he not in a creepy way. But he told me I needed to be having tantric sex, and he told me that what he meant by that was that I needed to be total in my experience. I needed to be a full body yes, no guilt, no shame, no holding back. Now, this was some of the greatest advice in my entire life. Sorry about the door. Because now I have this context. If there's any part of my being that is not a full body yes, there will be residue after meeting in a sexual experience. There will be. This is true for all of us. So the idea of vertical alignment, when we start to move this energy vertically, we are moving that energy from our loins, that passion, that yummy, primal, raw, Shakti energy that men and women have. We start to move that up through the rest of our centers, right? So our power center at the navel, right? Our will, into the heart, that place of depth of connection, right? Where we truly yearn to be met in intimacy. Our throat, our ability to vocalize, to express, to communicate, communicate, right? Communing is this deep coming together. This is our deeper longing to commune, right? And our higher centers, our intellect and our intuition, left and right brain. Something happens when our sexual energy comes up here. It starts to merge the left and right brain. This is how sexual energy can be fuel for awakening, for spiritual awakening, as is recognized in the Tantric and Taoist systems. So when we have all of these parts of ourself on board, and then we enter into a sexual experience with another being who also can have those parts on board, right? We need to cultivate ourselves. This isn't something that happens overnight, but it's a concept to start playing with. When there's that totality within the experience of lovemaking, this is where the transcendental, yet fully immanent, fully embodied experience of the divine, of complete ecstasy, of existential explosion into all that is, can happen. But there has to be that container of, we're all about consent in this day and age. This is like consent on every level of our being. Physical body consent, emotional body consent, intellectual consent, intuitive consent, spiritual consent. All systems go. When we are making love from this place, this is the most, in my opinion, profound experience humans can have. This meeting. This is where we create the eros gamos, the sacred marriage. This is where we recreate through two bodies the same energy that created the entire cosmos. There's a reason that in the Taoist system, if you're familiar with that circuit of energy I'm speaking of, we call it the microcosmic orbit. Microcosmic. It's a microcosm of the macrocosmic dance within us. It's because it's the same energy that created the macrocosm that we are working with. Now, when we recognize how powerful this energy is, we cannot just share it with anybody. you know? And our system, this vertical alignment is about checking in. Is my body on board? Is my heart on board? Can I communicate with this person in a deep way and be heard and seen and felt? Do I intuitively feel like this is a yes? Does my intellect also, you know, practicality is important also. Are the signs in place that this is a good decision? Spiritually, do I feel connected? Do I feel like this is going to uplift me spiritually or diminish me spiritually, energetically, right? So this is the concept of vertical aligned sexuality, giving our full self from a deep seat within ourselves. This is the best sex you will ever have, could ever have. And the experience of it is not finite, it's infinite. When we come into that space, we enter a realm of timelessness, of ecstasy, of supreme beauty, where the masculine and feminine meet fully. You know, and this is true, you know, again, masculine and feminine does not mean male or female. This means those two poles, the two poles that create that friction, that desire to come together, can come together so completely that two become one, that two merge back into that existential experience of deep cellular wholeness. Yummy. So I hope you find inspiration in this. This is a lifelong path. It's a path that I'm continually refining myself and learning about and embodying ever more deeply. So I hope you find some inspiration here to explore this concept. You know, just practice this concept, practice checking in with all the bodies, the whole being, as we enter into what is one of the most intimate exchanges, the most intimate exchange we can have with another being. All right, so much love to all of you, and may you all experience this level of beauty, of intimacy, of communion, of eros gamos.